As you can see, I love retro art. I love stuff from the 70s and the 80s. You can find me on Instagram at DarrylYoungDesign69. And please visit my friend's site, Raze Chaos. He's the one who's filming you right now. Take care and thank you.
And welcome back, everybody. My name is Raze Chaos. You've made it back to my channel, and I appreciate your support, your view. I appreciate you coming back, and if it's the first time here, I'll go gentle. Yeah. So last week I did a little Cobra haul that I went ahead and showed off all the Cobra characters that I had been collecting for the past like 2 years or so, that I had never gotten around to do a video of. I thought about doing the G.I. Joe team this week, but then I thought, you know what? Christmas is coming up soon. So why don't I just do the villains and get them out of the way, and then I'll let you enjoy I'll let you just enjoy December with a lot more good guys, I guess you'd say. So we're gonna have him take a break and lay down for a nap. Whew. And we're gonna pop into this. This is quite a collection that I have obtained, and yeah, I can't wait to dive into it. I went ahead and with the Masters of the Universe, you've actually got like a couple of subsections. I am going to start out with the Evil Horde, which technically are She-Ra's villains and not necessarily He-Man's villains. Even though Grizzlor here was released under the Masters of the Universe and not the Princess of Power, but in the cartoon, he was on Etheria fighting She-Ra and not He-Man. So we're going to go ahead and take out Grizzlor to have a look at him from the Evil Horde. And yes, here's Grizzlor. He is Grizzlor. He was kind of Hordak's beast man, I guess you'd say. He was more like a grizzly bear than he was a beast, but he was a pretty beast-like bear-looking guy. Obviously, with a name like Grizzlor, your mind goes to a grizzly bear. The main difference with the original figure versus the Funko Pop is that it was furry. He was a furry character. He was pretty much all fur. Where you see the brown, that was actually fur. And yeah, other than that, you've got the Hordak bat skull, whatever you want to call it. It's on his arm. It's on his boots. It's on his chest. And again, I love the back where they actually show you how their armor, or whatever you want to call it, like actually strapped onto the figure. That I love the fact that they put that detail in there. And once again, they have the little crossbow thing that all of Hordak's villains came from. And considering, I got Leech, Mantana, and Grizzlor, these were the original three, which I've done the other two on the channel. These were the original three that came out with Hordak originally when they released them into the Masters of the Universe line. They were the entire Hordak's Evil Horde, which Hordak being somebody who basically predated Skeletor and eventually moved on to Etheria. So that is that's that. But yeah, it's kind of cool that little collection is complete. I don't have a Hordak pop. I would like to get one, but I can only get them if they make them. And I believe that the one they've made is kind of up there now. But we're going to go ahead and move on because I've got a Horde Trooper. So the Horde Trooper is really kind of generic, and it's kind of meant to be. Whereas, you know, Skeletor really didn't have any faceless troops. I mean, he would pull up some faceless monsters at times, but Hordak actually had these automations that some of them didn't even have legs; they just floated. But it was a way of having a bunch of troops, and this is one that you could get a dozen of because there was no individuality with all of them, and they all just kind of followed almost in a hive mind. But it's a cool figure, and yeah, if I had means of displaying a nice big evil horde area, I'd want more than one of these just to set them up as guards around the core group, the elite group, I guess you'd say. But yeah, who's got the money for that, really? But anyway, the Horde Trooper. And next up, we kind of mash up to another subset of villains, I guess you'd say. Skeletor, if you've watched the Masters of the Universe, Skeletor lived in Snake Mountain. He did not build Snake Mountain. Snake Mountain was made by the Snake Men. And while some of them became some of, you know, Skeletor's henchmen, not all of them did. And some of them did very trepidly, and some only by association. And these are two of the Snake Men themselves. There is Snake Face, which is a 2021 Fall Convention exclusive. Yeah, I told you! Trying to get caught up here. I gotta bring them all out. But we're gonna go ahead and take this guy out and have a look at him. Yeah, I don't really remember the entirety of the whole Snake Face thing. It's one of those things where you can kind of tell who was who, like Hordak has with the skulls on his henchmen. The Snake Men had these staves with a snake wrapped around it that they used as weapons. And the figure for this guy actually had where his eyes and tongue would stick out all at the same time. His eyes being snakes, hence Snake Face. I don't remember. He may have been the leader of it. I don't remember for sure. But he is a wicked-looking Bob. I mean, he's probably one of the most wicked. Hence why they made him a con exclusive. Yeah. I vaguely remember this when I was a kid as one of the figures that... it was coming out right about the time that the series was ending. And the series was ending because, yeah, at the same time that they were kind of dwindling on everything, their audience started growing out of it. And, yeah, this was about the time I started growing out of Masters of the Universe in general. And lost interest in the toys, to be honest. But he's still pretty wicked, nonetheless. And next up we have Tongue Lasher, who I do believe was one of them that he was kind of a Skeletor. He eventually became part of Skeletor's group. I don't remember exactly, but I know that there was a distancing at one point where Tongue Lasher was one of the Snake Men, and then he was one of Skeletor's minions. Not sure exactly how that worked, but we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this guy. And here he is. Like I said, just the other. He's got the snake insignia on his chest. He's got the staff with the snake wrapped around it. I do remember that this figure actually had a thing on the back to where his tongue would stick out and go back in at times, trying to replicate the snake thing. But again, he was another one that was coming out about the time I was losing interest in them. So I really don't know too much about it. And I'm doing my best not to laugh, because looking at this guy right now, you know, he looks pretty badass until you get around the back. And then it's kind of like a Mr. T haircut going on here, except he doesn't have any hair. It also kind of resembles somebody that was dealing with a little male pop pattern baldness. So we got pretty sad when you're pink and have male pattern baldness. That's a little too painful to deal with. But yes, I do remember this figure. I don't think we ever had this one, but yeah, it was at the tail end of everything. So while he is cool, he's one that I have less of a history of than a lot of the other Masters of the Universe characters. And that brings us to Cobra Khan, who is kind of the defector of the Snake Men 2 Snake Mountain, 2 Skeletor. He came out long before they started this whole Snake Men business. And yeah, he fit right in with both. So he was one of them that I did remember and I did have at one point. And we're going to take him out and have a look at him. And this is probably one of the biggest mouths I've ever seen in a Funko Pop. You could probably fit a quarter in here and he could hold it comfortably. The funny thing about this figure, I remember having this figure. This is the same gun that he came with. The interesting little bit about this figure that they didn't replicate in here, which I really wouldn't see how they could, was his head on the figure was actually a squirt bottle. So you'd fill up his body full of water and you'd put it on, and then there'd be this pump action where he'd spray water on the other figures. And the whole thing was he could spray this mist upon you, and then essentially he'd have mind control over you. And I think that the more they got into the whole snake characters, they realized they needed to do a whole snake men bit, a whole line of snake-based characters, especially when you had Snake Mountain that was prominent from the very beginning. But yeah, this is one that my brother and I actually had. We did actually spray each other with him, and just a lot of fond memories of this guy. Even though, when push came to shove, there was a lot of times and a lot of kids out there that either knew where his head was and couldn't find his body, or vice versa. So that was one of the hard parts about collecting the original figure, is because, yeah, he came in 2 pieces. If you lost one of them, you couldn't really play with the other. That's a nice bridge to the rest of the Skeletor's minions kind of deal. Since Cobra Khan was a Cobra minion, we can immediately go to Evil-Lyn. 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 If you didn't catch the pun. Evil-Lyn, Evil-Lyn. Yeah, this is one of the original. This was basically their way of putting a female into the line when you had all these sculpted male figures, but you only had Teela as a female figure. It made sense to reuse that mold and do your best to get some female characters in there, because recycling molds is kind of how He-Man got hot really fast and was able to put out a lot of figures in the short span that they were dominating the toilet aisle. But we're going to go ahead and have a look at this guy. This girl. I'll get it right. I believe this is actually the second Evil-Lyn figure that they've made. I think the first one wasn't quite... I think the color scheme was slightly different. I don't think she was quite as yellow as she is on this, which I believe the original figure, she was full-on yellow like this. So it may have been their second try at getting this one right. But still, I mean, even the pose and everything, and the way her arms are moved, that's pretty much exactly the way her figure was made. It comes with the staff, and I do believe that even her outfit here represents more of the fact that her body was basically a Tila recast. And she was like Skeletor's right hand. She was his version of the sorceress, even though he was a very prominent magic user. But yeah, she is really kind of a must for getting a complete set of the Masters of the Universe, as far as the Skeletor's evil monsters. So yeah, this is definitely a plus. She's awesome, and yeah, I'm glad to have her. Kind of had a lot of these, didn't I? Which brings us to the final big monster that I got. I normally don't go for the Pop Towns after the abysmal reaction that I had to the Wayne Manor, which really kind of disappointed me. I really didn't see myself getting another one. However, there was a sale going on. This was involved. I managed to get this for the same price that I would have gotten a regular size pop. So I just went for it. I just figured, why not? I did actually have the myself or my brother actually had the Snake Mountain. Most likely him. He was the one that collected those. But we're gonna go ahead and take this out. I will say that this Skeletor figure is awesome. I tend to only really, as I mentioned in the Cobra video, I generally prefer to have the leaders of the sides and everything on mounts of some kind. But this one came with the Snake Mountain, so it was pretty much a given. And what I like about it is that it does come with exactly what Skeletor originally came with. He came with the staff, with the Ramhead staff. He came with the sword. And yeah, his armor is actually exactly the same. This is exactly how you want it. What I love about the whole spiked feet, I had a friend when I was younger, and he actually divided, like, he paid no attention to what the card said, and basically if the character had the taloned feet or spiked feet, then they were one of Skeletor's bad guys. And if their feet were rounded like they were wearing boots, then they were good guys. That wasn't necessarily the case. There were a couple of situations in which the good guys had the crow feet, and you know, I mean, Beastman didn't have those crow feet, and he was the right hand. So yeah, this is a really good Skeletor figure, and I will definitely keep it because this will go back in the box with the Snake Mountain, and yeah. Even though I didn't really need another Skeletor, he's really cool. And part of the reason why I went ahead and got the Snake Mountain was because I could see the detail from the pictures, and I was really impressed. Like, there was plenty to talk about on this guy. This top bit here, almost like a wolf or something, or a furry snake, or whatever the heck it is, whatever the heck it's supposed to be, that was actually a microphone. So when you talked through it, this would open up, so all you would see would be the face. You'd have it, that's why there was a snake up here. You would open this up, and Yeah. And there was a control panel to where you could actually move the mouth of the face on the front of the snake mountain, and you could talk through the microphone, and that would be the voice that was going on. This was on a swivel, so it would attack anybody coming to the door. As this was 2 doors because it would open up. So again, both sides of this would be facing you as it was clamshell. And this little spot right here at the back here was a place with a little puppet thing that you could reach out and grab person. It was like the snake under the mountain or something. And you could have it reach out and grab the figure and everything, and chew them up and spit them out, whatever you're going to do with it. But as much as I love this, I would really love to see the inside of it, just because, yeah, this was something that I played with when I was a kid, and having it closed up like this is a little perplexing, because I kind of want to take it out and take a look at it and move it around. But, yeah, obviously didn't come with a little microphone, so that's no fun. But, so yeah, that is my my Masters of the Universe Evil collection. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I'm going to go ahead and... Why don't you let me know of the teams, the Snake Men, the Evil Horde, or the Skeletors troop, which one was your favorite out of that group? As far as which of the evil teams was your favorite? Did you favor Skeletor, the Snake Men, or Hordak? I'm kind of like, I liked Hordak, but I liked Skeletor's people. Yeah, it was kind of rough. I would have loved if Hordak was the leader of that and Skeletor was the second in command that was always trying to take over. That would have been awesome. But that story ended before the series started, so missed out there. But let me know which one of these is your favorite out of this little collection. Let me know in the comments below, and click like on this video if you enjoyed it, and never forget that life is full of odd moments, and you never know when you're going to be defined.